And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for jumping on for our another and I guess the final of the year ATS University session. We've done a number of these ATS universities over the last year, 2 years. In fact, if you've been attending them, you probably recently received a feedback form as we're trying to continue to improve and adjust and get better and better with these. But these are almost weekly sessions where we cover either a product in great detail, maybe some application-based discussions. We've had sizing discussions, code discussions, all sorts of great information relayed by our sponsors of the ATS system. With me today is Morris Lee and Jerry Babin at Morris Lee, who I believe you're the national everything manager.
Yeah, pretty much. All things Morris Group.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. If this is your first time on an ATS University, my name is Zach. I'm our market development manager. I run our national accounts across Canada and manage the team of market development people that are there to help you get your firm set up with ATS. If you don't know, ATS is an online product selection software. Free and easy, paid for by the manufacturers, so that architects, engineers, and interior designers can have configurable product solutions. And at the end of the session today, I'll show you, if we have a little bit of time, I'll show you how you can find some of the products that we're discussing, select them on the ATS system, and download them in our written specs or our submittal specs or even all the Revit files. So lots of great content there, including the products that we're going to cover today. So today we're talking about Master-Trol, which is a bit of a unique product. And I know there's no one better to get into the nitty-gritty details than Jerry. He's helped me out with a number of these on projects over the last decade or so. Lots of great detail from him. So I'm excited for the presentation. As with all of our sessions, this is going to be recorded so that anyone that misses it can find it on our ATS webinar section, and you can view the recording after the fact. All of our sessions will have a certificate of attendance sent out on Fridays typically, so that you can self-report these for your hours. And if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A or the chat fields, and I will bring them up to Jerry when we get a good moment. Without any further ado, I'll pass it over to you, Jerry.
Great, thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Yeah, as Zach mentioned, if you have questions, please don't leave it till the end. Put it in chat, and Zach will bring it up, and we can discuss it then. I always find it's better to do it that way than leaving it to the end, and that way you're not forgetting questions that pop up. So, as Zach mentioned, Morris Lee, we're the local manufacturers rep for Morris Group products. We're the master distributor for all of Canada. My role here is I'm the general specifications manager. I handle all of our specs, any of our troubleshooting, be it with the contractor, owner, or engineer for that matter. So if you ever have any questions about any of our products, by all means, give Zach or myself a call. Be more than happy to help. As Zach mentioned, we're going to talk about Master-Trol. Being able to monitor time, control time, basically, as fixtures are being used. Master-Trol is a product that Acorn Engineering has had for quite some time. It is basically an electronic water management system. Can be used on pretty much any of our products, whether they're lavatories, showers, toilets, combination fixtures that are used in secure locations, such as police stations and prisons. Here are just a couple of examples of some of the areas that we've got Master-Trol put in. Acorn actually is based out of California, City of Industry. A couple of images here of our factory, front office or front of the building, lower right, inside our manufacturing. We got about 2 million square feet of manufacturing space between California and Mexico, Tijuana. There's just some combis going out for an order. And again, everything that we do is made to order. When it comes to fixtures, not much is sitting on the shelf because there's so many different variations and options, as you've seen the alphabet soup of suffixes as it relates to our products. but you get specifically and exactly what you're looking for. Just for Morris Lee, some of the brands that we represent, not all of them are Morris Group related. Just go back here, sorry. Canadian Gas Safety and TNS Brass are not Morris Group products, but everything else that you see there, all the brands that we've got are all privately owned, no shareholders to report to. So when it comes to customizing stuff, we have the ability to do it without being second guessed by bean counters. So Master-Trol. So Master-Trol basically gives you a means of controlling water management. Again, it's a software system, would be the Cadillac version. As you see there, there's a desktop computer typically used in prison facilities, could be used in mental health facilities, wherever you have a large quantity of fixtures. Having the computer makes it easy for the facility to monitor and control what's being used, when it gets used, how it gets used. So that's one option. The other way of doing it is not having the computer, but having everything. Our Master-Trol controller, which is this gray box that you see here, basically controls the system. So we can pre-program settings as per the user's requirements. Basically, you set it and forget it. There's no changing, although we do have a device, what we call a palm top, that if they wanted to change it down the road, you can get a palm top, basically plug it into a controller and adjust settings as required. So again, Master-Trol giving you complete control over toilets, lavatories, drinking fountains, showers. Again, basically anything where you got a water connection going to it, we can control it via Master-Trol. So with Master-Trol, the benefits are water savings. You're regulating the amount of water being used, either by time based on per seconds that the fixture can run. In the case of a lavatory, if you want a faucet to run for 3 seconds at a time, we can set that up. We can have a complete control of over 3,000 fixtures on a single system. Our computer monitors water usage, creates reports, graphs, and charts, so you can monitor water usage by the minute, the day, the month, or the year. It was initially developed in '91, and we're constantly improving it as we go along. Again, minute-by-minute reports of users' activities. It's easy to navigate with detailed location descriptions and search, real-time reporting of usage time and valve status, prevention of abuse to fixtures and or usage of water. And by that meaning that if somebody's using a fixture, say in the case of a security facility, and they're constantly flushing the toilets, you can actually limit how often they can actually flush the toilet and basically lock it out for whatever period of time. So maybe they're flushing it once an hour. And that's all the water usage they're going to have on that. So, and again, that's all done through our computer. Master-Trol can also contribute to lead points as well. So a Master-Trol system consists of the following hardware. You have a 12-station controller, which is the gray box that you see here. Windows XP desktop computer with an 8-link PCI card. Acorn, recommended that Acorn supply all this, so it's already preloaded, ready to go. 8-port serial cable, 6-conductor telephone cable or data link, also 6-conductor telephone cable, which is your station wires. So again, when we talk about the Master-Trol controller, it has 12 ports for 12 solenoid valves. And when you think of the solenoid valve, so if you look at a combi potentially has 3 solenoid valves, one on your flush valve, one on your hot water, one on your cold water. So theoretically, this controller can handle 4 fixture combis, assuming again you got hot and cold water. Or if it was running a shower, you can have, with a tempered water coming out, you've got 12 showers that can be connected to this. If you had lavatories, again, hot and cold water, you'd be 6 lavatories that would be connected to it. So every solenoid valve would have a connection to the controller.
It almost looks like it's kind of built around that idea, right? You can see in the stations it's showing kind of 4 groups of 3. That's why it's done up that way, so you can kind of zone off a particular section.
Correct. Correct. And through the computer, you could actually shut off any solenoid valve in the system. If you want to shut the toilet off on 10 fixtures, you can do that. So if you wanted to, again, isolate toilets throughout a facility, you have the ability to do that using the computer. If you don't have the computer, you lose that ability. And in some cases, perhaps you've got, say, a community center where you've got a dozen showers, and really all you're concerned about is water being left on. Well, you can go with a Master-Trol controller, have the shower set to run for 5 minutes at a time, and then stop. Again, you'd never want to change the usage or the length of time that they're running for. But if you did want to do that, again, I mentioned earlier, we have our palm top controller, which basically is like a little iPad that you plug into the iPad, plug into the controller, and then adjust the timing to whatever's required. So basically, when you look at how the system is set up, you've got your server or our computer, you've got user interfaces within the facility. You have up to 8 VersaLinks. Through those 8 VersaLink network modules, you've got 32 controllers per VersaLink, and then 12 valves per controller, and that's where your 3,072 valves can be connected to our system. And that's all done through one computer. So basically, like any server provides connections to a network of users. Through that server, again, you're connecting to a maximum of 8 controllers, and each controller is in remote areas of the facility.
Okay. Has any project ever come close to the 3,000 valves?
I'm sure they've got a few that have gone to that distance in the US. I've not seen anything here in Canada for that matter. I think the most that I've seen here would have been basically 49 combi fixtures times 3 solenoids. So you're 138 solenoid valves.
Yeah, I remember hearing about there's a prison down in LA, which I think was one of the case studies you guys did on the water savings. And that was like maybe 1,000 something. That was one of the biggest, I think that's one of the biggest prisons there is.
Yeah. And they can be expanded. So if you didn't have, say you only had 1,000 solenoid valves and you did a major expansion of a facility, as long as you're within the distance, and I believe it's 4,000 feet from the computer to the furthest fixture, as long as you're within those parameters, you can expand it up to the maximum. So again, you're not having to go out. I know we did a facility probably 15 years ago on the East Coast, and then they wanted to add additional pods to the facility. So what they ended up doing is they bought new computers for each pod. They didn't have to go that route. They could have tied into the original computer that went in, and then just run controllers to the various areas. So again, it is expandable as long as you haven't hit what the max number of solenoid valves are. And then out of each of those controllers, they can be daisy chained to a maximum of 32 controllers. So again, you're seeing how expandable this can go. And you can have, again, like I mentioned before, any combination of fixtures. So it's not limited to just, hey, we've got all combis going through. These controllers could all have, again, various combinations of toilets, urinals, lavs, showers, combi fixtures. So as long as there's a solenoid valve, it doesn't matter what the fixture type is. And then as you see from the controller, you've got lines running to each solenoid valve. Now what Acorn provides, basically this gives you a good view of it. So we provide the fixture, the solenoid valves, and control boxes at the fixture, the lines from the fixture to the controller. Everything from the controller going back to the computer would be provided by the plumber. Their controls tech would provide all that. But everything from the controller going back to the fixture, that is all part of what Acorn Engineering provides. And again, this one's giving you a view of what a 12 connection would look like. So here we've got, again, 4 combination fixtures hooked up. Again, you have 32 valves, or 32 controllers, 12 valves, again, 384 valves total. And again, just walking back through the numbers. Again, going to the controllers, 120 volt, going to the controller, and then it's low voltage wiring, basically telephone cable going from your controller to the fixtures themselves. So again, each controller would have its own transformer. We include that transformer as part of our quote package going to it. Again, your server, your handheld, there's a picture, this black box at the bottom here. That's what that palm top is. And again, you're plugging a 6-wire cable from the palm top going into the Master-Trol controller. And then again, if you didn't have a computer, this is how you would do it. Again, typical pipe chases, where does the controller go? Again, would be in a pipe chase or accessible ceiling space if that's where it needs to be. Again, you've got a 10-foot distance. Typically is what we provide. You can go further from the controller to the fixtures, but we recommend 10 is the easiest because everything is nice and close proximity, controller to the fixture that it's serving. And again, just some typical views of what pipe chases used to look like. Don't think many of them look like this anymore. Architects don't like losing space, so these tend to get smaller. Picture on the right side shows actually one of our technicians assisting in a setup. So that's quite the large pipe chase that's there. Typically what you see in a prison application are triangular chases where they'd have 2 fixtures within a chase.
Yeah, that's way too much space these days.
So what ends up happening when you push a button, it sends a signal to the branch box, and then from the branch box, it then goes up to the controller. That identifies the station that is sending the signal and automatically reviews whatever pre-programmed options and timing requirements have been preset. So again, if it was a toilet, it would allow for a single flush and then would reset for the next flush. On the lavatories, depending on what you're pressing, it's running for whatever preset time. Say it's 10 seconds that you allow it to run, and then it shuts off. If authorized, the controller returns a signal, activating the valve, releasing the water to the fixture, again, going back and forth between the controller and the fixture. So again, this is all predetermined at the time of when shipping, or again, in the case of having the computer installed, facility people could change these as they see fit. So just a little bit of history. Master-Trol has been tried and tested for over 20 years. It's used in a wide variety of applications, from supermax prisons to regional county jails all over the world. A lot of what we've done here, police stations, prisons, courthouses, community centers, when showers have been used, both with and without the use of the computer. Basically, the improvements that we've added to it, Windows Explorer tree improves descriptions of fixture locations and increased flexibility in mapping of fixtures to the Master-Trol station. Multi-level usernames with passwords when detailed tracking of user activity. Ability to limit the amount of usage time and or number of activations on a fixture in a 24-hour period. Again, unparalleled water savings. Real-time monitoring water usage, again, daily, weekly, or monthly. added modes such as accumulator mode if you had a vacuum system connected, variable lockouts, and then queued activations, and a lot of other options as well. If you can just hang on one sec. Keep going.
Their key electrical panel back there is locked.
You
I'm
might want to mute up there, Jared.
What? Okay. I thought it was locked up.
Was that
Sorry about
James
that, folks.
in the background? When the big boss calls, you gotta answer.
Yeah,
real quick,
you've got
right?
to
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, the one
Okay,
thing
sorry about that, folks.
I think one thing that always comes to mind with these is obviously the supermax prisons and getting into even jails, but you bring up community centers and rec facilities like a hockey arena, anything like that, where it may not be concerned about fully abusing the number of activations, but just making sure we're not having run-ons, things like that can really affect water usage. And that's one of the more interesting aspects of this for me, that puts into a little bit more practical sphere. It's not, yes, it does the big prisons great, really well. That's what it's kind of designed for. But it also does fit nicely into community centers and facilities.
Great point. And just a little more on that. Typically in a shower in a community center, you're putting a metering valve in, and that metering valve can go anywhere from 5 seconds to a minute. So somebody that goes in for a 5 to 10 minute shower, they're hitting that button 5 to 10 times. With Master-Trol, you can set that shower to run, say, for 5 minutes at a time, automatically shut off. There are ways of even setting it up. If you push it once, you get 5-minute run. You push it a second time, finish off your shower. You only go 2 minutes in, and then you're ready to walk out. We can actually set it up to where if you push the button again, it'll actually turn the shower off. But again, this would be some education to the users, advising them that they'd be able to turn it off if they want when they're walking out. So again, it reduces the amount of vandalism. Somebody gets tossed out of a hockey game and goes into the shower. Last thing they want to do is to be bothered by having to continually push a button. So again, shower applications in a community center is a great application. In that case, we would preset the controller, and you wouldn't have the computer used with it. And I think once in the last 9 years, I've had a facility come back saying they wanted to change the timing. So as a courtesy, we came in with our Palm Top and just reset the controllers to a different time for them. So, and went well for them. This gives you a view of when you walk into the server program. Basically, it's telling you how many controllers you have, what link number it is. So in this case here, you've got links 3 and 4 that have 28 controllers to each one. And again, as you're going through our configuration process with our software, again, it gives you a full layout of all the cells, cell numbers, what floors they're on, what solenoid valves are there. So as you see on the left side of the screen, you're seeing cell A01 is an ADA on the first floor in pod A in the north wing. And then you've got 3 solenoid valves, hot, cold, in your toilet. And then as you look on the...
I'm not sure if the slide's updating for all the users. At least it's not updating for me. You may have to just click back over to the Zoom window. I'm not sure why, but it just stopped. It's stuck on the enhancements page. Maybe if those in chat, if you guys are seeing it move along, it might just be, there we go. Now it's going.
Oh, there we are. Yep. Hang on, let me back up a slide here. Okay, so basically going back to this screen here, again, as you log in, it's basically telling you that your server is ready. It's pulling all the controllers. It's loading all the files as you go in. And then once the program opens, it's giving you, if you look on the left side, it's telling you what you have set up. So basically you've got a north wing, you've got pod A, gives you your cell numbers. A01 is an ADA cell. A02 is non. It's giving you the solenoid valves that are connected to that in that cell. And again, we're showing 3 solenoid valves in each cell. And again, then you've got another view on the lower right that's showing you how many items that you have on that link number 1. And then again, you'd have your link, your controller number, your station, your name, all that stuff would be pre-populated before the computer is set out to the facility. One of the things that we also include for the contractor when they're doing an install is basically a layout of the facility where every controller is, what controller number it is, what cells they're feeding, what solenoid valves are at each cell or each location if it's not a cell. Say it's a kitchen or an open area within the facility that has controllers connected to it. So again, basically that map we would create for you. Again, continuing on with the configuration program, again, create users for the Master-Trol system. You can add or delete users and authorize users to get access to either the whole system or just certain modules within. It limits the visibility and access to change parameters to specific users in a specific region of the facility. Set accessible functions for the created user to operate, and you can monitor each group of users over a period of time. Again, single day, group of days, or months, etc. Again, it's a tab structure for easy navigation. Again, as you're going through, if you want to set parameters, go to the Set Parameters button. Your global settings, see a link map of how everything is laid out. So again, everything that you got as the facility is being built, insofar as layouts go for fixtures, all that would be available within the software itself. Again, just some of the different features that we have as part of the client program. You have a variable lockout. Basically, it's a custom setting for stations. When a specified number of activations occur within a specific time frame, that station is locked out for a set interval. For example, you want a toilet to flush 3 times in an hour, and that flush would happen, say, over a 1-minute period. If the person hits the flush valve, waits a minute, hits the flush valve, waits a minute, hits a flush valve, waits a minute, so there's roughly 3.5 minutes gone by, they would not be able to flush that out for another 57 minutes. And again, that same logic would apply if it was a lavatory, a shower, a drinking fountain. Again, accumulator mode is a configuration station if it operates on our Acorn vacuum drainage system. Paired operation is used when a valve is required to automatically operate in conjunction with another station on a Master-Trol controller. Again, you'd mark the parameters, changing valves such as valve time, lockout time, between activations or remote operation of the valve from the workstation or PC. So again, the facility guy sitting there or person sitting behind the computer, they could actually activate any of the valves throughout the facility when they see fit, or it's actually done from the cell itself. Now, in setting valve modes, you have a single cycle. Basically, valve will run through a timing cycle before shutting off. Cycle interrupt, again, user can interrupt the timing cycle by pushing the actuator during a time cycle. So as I mentioned about the shower, you have a 5-minute setting. Somebody pushes it, they do the 5 minutes, they need to rinse out, hit the button again, get another 5-minute run, only use it for 2. They can hit that button and stop the timing from going on for another 3 and not having water being wasted for those 3 minutes while they're drying.
Let's circle back to the variable lockout that you were discussing. Is that one of the more common installation methods and like lockout methods used, or is that not as common as, say, just the setting of a runtime?
It's probably 50-50. It just depends on what the project type is. Your variable lockouts are probably more in tune with security facilities versus, say, in a community center. So again, it really just depends on what the application where it's being used, where that would really apply to. Now, when designing a project, we actually had a little package put together that we send out to engineers, because one of the things that's required is for presetting the timing setup within the system, and that's regardless of whether you're using the computer or whether it's factory set and there's no computer at the site at the end of the when the project's complete. That basically walks through all of the various parameters in easy to understand language that basically anybody can look at and figure out, okay, yeah, here's what I want to do. So basically we provide that anytime we're dealing with an engineer when it comes to the point where we need to start talking about settings, how they're done, what all the different options mean. And we can walk through that at any given time with the engineer, the facility people, so that everybody understands what's going on. There. Again, the client program enables or disables a single valve and or valves in a cell area or the whole system. Prohibits utilization of any fixture within the facility. So for an example, in a prison, if they were going to toss a level of cells, they could actually disable all of the fixtures on that wing before anybody knows. And typically in a prison, if they're going to toss the cells, the inmates are calling out that the guards are coming to toss. If anybody's trying to get rid of contraband, the lavs and toilets are going to be deactivated from the computer. And then that way they're not able to flush anything and get rid of any contraband that they might have. So again, all this can be done through the computer, setting windows of operation where fixtures are available for use only within set periods. So if you want nothing used, say between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m., you can lock it out. You can automatically cycle fixtures after an adjustable period of non-use that is passed to prevent trap from drying or corrosion of the fixture. So again, we've seen quite often where facilities are being built, the fixtures are put in, they've got water to the fixtures, and then you've got stagnant water sitting there. It's very important to flush that water through on somewhat of a regular basis. We've been to facilities where it's gone to that degree, but then the facility doesn't open up for 6 months because they're waiting for certain pieces of equipment to come in. So you've got combi fixtures sitting there, somebody goes in and there's basically surface rust within the bowl. So again, having this set up to where it can cycle through. If you don't have the computer, or having somebody going through and cycling that through just to make sure that the water is changing. Again, when looking at in the client program, you have a color code representing all the fixtures in the facility, and it monitors color in real time. You get real-time warnings of any non-communication from a fixture. If somebody's managed to pull a fixture apart and they disable a connection, the system will note that right away. The ability to connect to a server from a single or multiple clients using LAN or WAN connections allows administrators, maintenance personnel to monitor the system and make changes from remote locations. So again, you can grant multiple clients from different areas to log into the system as opposed to having to come to where our computer is located. We've got dual levels of security via the server software and configuration software to prevent unauthorized access. So again, this stands as a standalone system from the facility system. Now we can have them connected to where they would be able to see that something's happened on our system, but they wouldn't be able to do anything until they actually got into our software and made adjustments or changes or corrections as required. Again, the login program, the log system events to a file on the computer for archiving, records the number of times each valve has been activated, gives you total on time for each valve, logs gallons or liters of water per use, per link, per valve, all links over a selectable time period. Tells you when the valves are enabled or disabled. You can print hard copies of the information for a log file for archiving. You can sort through log files, select plot requested data on a screen, or do up a hard copy. So again, a lot of flexibility with what our system uses. Talk about the handheld programmer. Here's what it looks like up close. The Master-Trol controller station parameters can be adjusted using this. Typically, when we're quoting a project, unless it's specified in the specs to either have the computer or the palm top, we'll include pricing for both, and then it's just a matter of the contractor carrying the required parts. The CPT, as it's called, is recommended for smaller installations, usually between 1 and 5 controllers. You can get the information on number of controllers on different links. You can set change on off times, enable, disable stations. All that can be done through the controller. Controller can be plugged in, also takes batteries as well. So if you're in an area where there isn't a receptacle, again, having the batteries with it, it makes it easy to use. Again, through this, you can set your valve modes, remote operation, paired operation, set your actuator modes for single cycle or cycle interrupt, or accumulator mode in the case of the vacuum plumbing. You can troubleshoot and set parameters when access to the desktop is not easily available, or having the Master-Trol controllers or work as a standalone. So again, when no computer is available, again, having one of these in a facility makes it easy for the user or the facility management to adjust changes. Again, on the green product, again, lead points under water efficiency selections for new construction, commercial interiors, existing buildings, healthcare, again, mental health applications would be a good use for it. Schools, again, water efficiency for innovative wastewater technologies, water reductions from 20 to 40%. Again, your Master-Trol can be tied into vacuum plumbing is an option where it could be used. We've done facilities where they've got vacuum plumbing in cells, and again, having Master-Trol to control all that. Some completed projects that we did, Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. Again, the thought was it had flexible design and they were able to water management control. Western Virginia Regional Jail employed it in. They had a waste reduction, water reduction of 20 to 40%, and it helped get LEED certification on the building. And just some views of those specific facilities, and again on the renovation solutions. Again, these are stainless steel toilets used on to replace wall hung fixtures. Again, where you've got China toilets where they're being damaged or destroyed. Again, we have a simple replacement of stainless steel toilets going in their place. And again, Master-Trol can be added to that after the fact if they want it. But it has to be done when the fixture's put in. Same thing on combis, basically. Again, they should be added at time of order, not after the fact. Again, Western Virginia Regional Jail, one of the first LEED qualified prisons in the U.S. Estimated savings of up to 4 million gallons of water savings and sewer reduction. Again, just some of the areas where they had what they had connected to it. Again, they had drinking fountains, showers, combination fixtures, as well as individual fixtures. We also have Time-Trol. So if you still want to control water usage, but don't need the usage of a computer, or it's not that complicated, again, where you want it to control where a toilet is being used or a shower, this gives you the ability to, via a dial switch, to have a valve runtime. There's 9 different settings that are there, anywhere from 1 second up to 9 minutes. And again, these take a 120 volt power going to the controller, and then low voltage going back to the solenoid valve. You'll see there's actually a connector for the push button. Your air activation using an Air-Trol metering valve would be connected to that as well. This could also be set up for toilets and also have the cycle interrupt as part of the package. Again, the application here would be used on a shower. And again, typically where these would be located is up in a ceiling space that's accessible, or again, if you have a pipe chase that they can get into, would be where it'd be located. So basically you've got your Air-Trol button going to controller, you have your water connection going through, and then your power connection that's connected up to that. And again, as I mentioned, it's all low voltage wiring. Again, Time-Trol is a little less expensive than using Master-Trol, but again, what you would have also is for every solenoid valve, you're going to have a Time-Trol, an individual controller. So again, if you had a lavatory with hot and cold water, you're going to have 2 Time-Trols that would run with that. Again, it gives you 3 different lights that are on it, that it's got power, that a switch is activated, that the valve is working. Again, just giving you a view if it was used with a combi. Again, your hot and cold water would have a controller, your flush valve would have a controller as well. And again, as you go through our submittal drawings, your Master-Trol would be as an EVF, electronic valve system option. And again, whether you had for lavs, toilets, or a combination thereof, Master-Trol, or sorry, the Time-Trol would be an MVC. And again, whether it was for the faucet, a single hot and cold, or flush valve, again, the suffixes would be according. You would never have a application where you're using a combination of both Time-Trol and Master-Trol. It would be one or the other that you'd be running with, or no controller at all if there was no issue with a button being pushed for any number of activations.
So to break that down a little, say you have a combination unit, you would never have a situation where, say, the hot and cold on the lav is used with Time-Trol, but the flush valve is controlled by Master-Trol. They're all going to be, it's going to be one or the other, right?
Correct. Because then if you had the Master-Trol controller, and just for sake of argument, you had a computer, there's no way to hook up the Time-Trol to the computer. So if you really wanted to use a computer and be able to adjust things as you go, then Master-Trol is what you have to go with. If you just basically want to be able to set it and forget it kind of thing, you can do that with Master-Trol without a computer, but you could also do it less expensively using Time-Trol. For Time-Trol, we also have our Time-Trol Plus, which is battery operated device. So again, instead of having 120 volt power going to it, we can do it with battery. Master-Trol, we also have that available in a battery configuration as well. Again, on a Time-Trol Plus, again, here's what you have for your flush valve again. So you got your activation button to the controller. You've got your solenoid connection that goes back to it. And then through that solenoid valve opening that allows the water to activate via the flush valve. So again, sorry?
Sorry, go ahead and finish your sentence.
I was just going to say this whole package that you see here would be provided as part of the Time-Trol, including the flush valve.
And I see, so you've got the hemispherical push button there shown for the flush valve activation. I know there's a kind of 2 options for the push button style. We have the mechanical push button and a piezo, which kind of senses the electronic signal in your body to activate, right?
Right.
Does the piezo work with both Master-Trol and Time-Trol, or is it just on one?
No, it works on both.
Perfect. Because I know that's a great ADA or OBC or BC building code barrier-free option.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the piezo button can be used on both types. And actually, the button that you see here is just our standard button. It's not a hemispherical one. The hemispherical one actually is round. Basically, the body's the same. Hemispherical would be considered ligature resistant, whereas the button that you see in the image here is not a ligature resistant button. It's got a square and a flat square edge and a flat face to it. So that could be considered a ligature one. And this is our touch control. Again, it's still a push. It's a little more push of a button versus a piezo. Basically, if you think of a piezo button, basically having 2 sheets of paper, and once those 2 sheets of paper make contact, that activates the valve to run. With this particular one here, and I believe this is probably an older style, you're actually pushing that button in, but it's still electronic control that we have on it. And that's the end of the presentation.
Perfect. Well, we'll pause here for a second for any questions that may come in, and then we'll show how you might be able to find some of the products on the ATS spec system. I haven't seen any questions. I saw a couple comments coming in like, oh, this would be great for residential to control how much water your teens are using. I certainly see some practical applications there. As a fan of a luxurious shower when I was a teen, I can understand that probably impacted my parents' water bill a lot more than I thought of at the time. But no, this is more so on the commercial side than the residential. I guess as we're waiting for any questions to come in, if you see them come in, please feel free to jump over and address anything that comes up, Chair. But while we're waiting on that, I'll remind everyone on the call that, obviously, thanks for joining our ATS University. These are all available at atsspec.com, as with any of the products that we talked about today. I know we talked more about kind of an option within some of the products versus an individual product itself. ATS Spec is a login type service, so it's all free for the engineers and designers to log in, paid for in essence by the manufacturers that are sponsoring the tool. And once you log in, it'll save your username and password. So you can see, nice and easy, just hit the login button, you're good to go. One thing I did want to show before we even get logged in is if you go to this Architects and Engineers tab, we have our templates and we have our Learning Hub. So in the Learning Hub, you'll be able to find our Training on Demand section, which is the recorded versions of all of these sessions. So if you want to go back to last week's presentation on pivot panels and the new control panel for the submersible pump family, if you want to see the water conserving valve options that we just did today, those are all going to be located here where you can access the recording. And then of course the products are going to be integrated into our templates as well. So we have a couple of applications that we're showing here. Our long-term care facility, we've got the multifamily, designing for safety and care, for like educational applications. We've got the anti-ligature, but we don't have the penal applications up yet. But I'm sure in the new year we'll be having either a security or police station type application launching, where these combination units will be included. What's nice is that all you do is go to additional downloads and you can download a catalog of it, or you can actually copy that into a live project. So you can see here I'm logged in into my demo account. It'll show your name up in the top right as you get logged in. There's a nice user engagement thing that shows how many projects your firm's worked on, the total number of products specified. And then you've got your quick actions where you've got, how to add a new project or a new quick spec or new master. And the question's always, well, what's the difference? The quick spec is where you're just looking for a single product, whether that be a ligature resistant floor drain or combination unit, anything like that. We're not applying a rules engine. Once you get started into a project that has an application type and a location, we can start recommending products that meet the building codes for those areas. So if you're selecting Ontario, you'll get OBC applied. And if you're selecting, police station, the products that are recommended will start to customize based on that. A master is when you have a number of those. So, let's stay on the police station chain. I know a few years back, we did a series of RCMP offices or stations. They had 10 of these projects going on that year. You could create a master on the spec tool once, and this is a little bit different than your internal master. Your internal master is going to use the information you get from our master or from our projects. But by hosting it online, it's super easy to copy and paste. So you can see I've got community space or kind of amenity space masters here. You can copy and paste right from the actions on the right. You can hit copy to. You can select, you may have multiple options within the master that then you're copying into a unique location. So your master may have both floor mounted and wall hung options, and then you copy only some of the products. You may not copy all of them, maybe just one or two, as you customize that individual project's location. And that's going to keep everything up to date. So if there's a discontinuance on any of the products, if there's a model number change or a keyword change on any of the products, our system's going to be updated. The product that you've copied is going to be updated, and you're going to be notified if there's any changes to your current project or your master. So it keeps everything updated and fresh, and you never run into change notices is the plan. And then once you are in, so you can see I've created a project, for the Acorn Master-Trol webinar here. I've already put a combination unit in. When I go in to try to, access this information, all I do is click the box and hit download, and then you can download it as a submittal format, a schedule, a fixture schedule format, long spec, short spec, three-part spec for CSI, the Revit, manufacturer spec sheets, all sorts of different versions of your actual configured selection. So you would actually get, the options that you've selected are ticked off. The written spec includes those details in there. So if you've got the EVS Master-Trol system, it comes with a language for a Master-Trol with electronic flush valve and piezo push button. So a lot of the details that you're actually selecting are configured in the output spec, and then you just copy this either into your internal written spec or into your freeform Word spec or into your internal master, and update it and download a new copy when you need one. So it allows you to configure the actual individual pieces a little bit more and keep everything up to date. And it's super simple to go and add. If we go back to the project and we hit the plus button, you can see I've got my combination fixture pinned here. This is one of my recurring product categories, so I'll pin my favorites. And you can see we've got some that are unpinned because we have added and added and added product. More and more manufacturers are joining the system, and we've got more and more product options for you. So you can pin your favorites, the ones that you're using regularly. I can go into that category after that and start configuring my selection. You can see the 1418 is the most specified product, and then we've got a front access version. You got the barrier-free and ligature-resistant models that are the more commonly selected ones. You can start filtering down as well if you want to see the ligature-resistant, or you can, add a barrier-free toggle to this, depending on the category that may be included. We can go into the 1418 and start configuring it. So we've got our Master-Trol selections, we've got our orientations, all the different options that are included, paper holders, pinned cleanouts, the flood troll options, and select all those different types of options, and it'll configure the selection as you go. And that's how you end up with all the different details that we've shown here. Similarly, if you are going into the shower category, you could do that there, or the urinals or the lavs. The basins, as Jerry mentioned, also have it. We'll jump back to the project. And now I mentioned our templates and our masters. So again, the masters, if you want to use a master to fill it over, or you can use the ATS template. So the masters would be kind of your standards if you are working on a recurring chain or on a recurring application type. You could create your own master, work with my market development team to get your master updated because you may have one in-house already. So we can take that and have that built on the system for you. Whereas the templates are kind of the ATS recommendation for a master. So it's a starting point. So for instance, a security master template here, and this is going to be a good starting point for just about any prison or security type application. You can see we've got different product groups here. So you've got budget conscious product groups, hardwired architectural products, all the drainage, all mechanical and fire protection, right down into pipes and fittings. But if we wanted to go back to, say, our budget conscious version, we've got our Acorn units here, and you could take over and copy and paste, say, our wall hung labs, and copy these either into your own master and get your own master started for repeat work, or into that project file that we started creating before. So I can put these either into my Master-Trol webinar that I've already selected, or into a new product group. And you can have multiple product groups within a project. I often use these either to differentiate between my drainage and my fixtures, or I might also use it to differentiate between revisions. If we start out with a selection today, and then a couple of weeks later, we come back and say, actually, we need to make some changes. We're going to be going with, wall hung fixtures, or we're going down to Master-Trol. We could then copy this into a new product group, make our revisions, and that way you have kind of a progression of your selections over time. So that, a couple of weeks after you make the change, if they change back, you have that model stored. And then just as before, once you've finished and rounded out the selection, we can go to download. You can download your Revit, your long spec, your schedule, your submittal, any of the different options, any of the different combinations, and it'll download all those pieces of equipment that you've added to the system. And it'll come back something like this, where you've got all those different pieces all within there. So you can see we've got the Revit files for that combination fixture, all good to go. So that is the quick version, as best as I can, on the ATS spec tool. That was a nice detailed intro into Master-Trol, but as we showed along the way, there's a lot of options and configurations to these combination units to the Master-Trol system. So if you do run into an application where you're looking at Master-Trol, please feel free to reach out to myself, Natalia, Melanie, Mo, Phil, whoever your market development manager is from the ATS team, or directly to Jerry, who I know is going to be a tremendous resource and help you get all the answers that you need. Thank you very much, Jerry. This was a fantastic presentation. I learned a couple of things along the way, and I'm sure the group did as well. I guess without any further ado, thank you all that joined us throughout our ATS University sessions this year. I think we did over 40 different sessions. So thank you to those that jumped on and joined us. And if we don't see you, happy holidays and happy new year. And hopefully you'll jump back on in the new year.
Actually, I think, Zach, I thought there was one question that was there, but no, just Sven saying thank you. You're welcome. Sure. Season's greetings, everybody. All the best. And if you have any questions, always here to help out. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Bye for now.